First of all, Drake Greenlaw. He's questionable with the hamstring injury. Cleveland Browns ran for 160 yards last week against this Niners front. Ford had 80 yards. They averaged 4.7 yards a carry. Oren Burks, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. Those are your backups. How well do they play in a run game? Not well enough. Cleveland got out on the edge. That stretch play killed the Niners over and over and over again. There weren't many times where the Niners were able to meet the Cleveland Browns at the line of scrimmage in a run game. So you got to clean that up. You know what, Minnesota, to get comfortable and give Kirk Cousins that play-action pass opportunity. Shut down the run and make them one-dimensional. When you make them one-dimensional, that's where you get Nick Bosa. That's where you get Farrell. That's where you hopefully get Drake Jackson and Randy Gregory. Time to go hunt the quarterback. Make the Vikings one-dimensional. So that's what I want to see there without Drake Greenlaw. You got to snuff out the run early. So Burks and Flanagan-Fowles, they got to be better. They have to be a lot better.
It's an interesting point he made. Most people on the surface would scoff at it. Oh, Drake Greenlaw is as important or maybe more important to the defense than CMC is to the offense. I think most people be like, they cringe if you said that. But I get what he's saying.
I 100% understand.
I'm not saying that he's exactly right, but I get he is extremely important.
He's a tone setter for your defense.
Yes.
He's laying dudes out. He's pile driving guys out of bounds like Tony Pollard. You know, if you can get away with it, great. But going sideline to sideline and stopping that stretch run and taking on blocks and blowing up blockers, that's where Drake Greenlaw. And then in the pass game, too, there's too many times I saw Njoku wide open over the middle of the field. Elijah Moore was open over the middle of the field. Was that Drake Greenlaw's zone? Whose zone was that? The communication broke down at times for the Niners defense. So helping Drake Greenlaw back, you know, getting him back, hopefully, with this hamstring injury is huge. It's imperative for the 49ers. But again, I look at the Minnesota Vikings and said, if the Niners are who we think they are, and a lot of people going into last week's game thought they were the best team in football. You can't overcome a couple injuries. I saw Philadelphia overcome some injuries. I'm seeing Miami at times overcome injuries. Buffalo's trying to overcome injuries. Kansas City's trying to overcome. The great teams overcome these injuries. So can you steal a game without Drake Greenlaw? If you can't steal this game without Drake Greenlaw, Trent Williams, then maybe you're not that team, and maybe you are too top-heavy.
Seattle won a game yesterday not playing DK Metcalf, for example, against a divisional opponent. Now, I don't think that highly of Arizona, but they've played really hard in almost every single game.
They have.
You know, obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers continue to win games. They don't have Cam Hayward, right? He is a very important piece to their defense, to your point, B. And that's why I think TJ Watt is separating himself in terms of Defensive Player of the Year argument. He's doing this without a couple guys on defense right now.
Right.
And so that does matter. B, they got to win this game. And I understand the rhetoric of the number one seed being the most important. But I'm looking at this big picture, and I'm trying to be reasonable here. I would love to get the number one seed, but if it costs me a chance at having McCaffrey or Debo or Trent, whoever it might be, and there's no give or take. These guys could all get healthy in 3 weeks and then re-injure themselves 4 weeks down the line, 5 weeks down the line. But if you can, and you could save some of that pounding for CMC, I feel like you got to, because if you get him hurt in the playoffs, and again, there's no guarantees.
Well, he's hurt right now. Forget the playoffs. He's got a slight tear in his oblique. So we can't wait till the playoffs. He's already hurt. He's already banged up.
Like, did they, honestly?
So honestly, here's the deal. This is why I need home field advantage.
Why?
Because if you don't get home field advantage and say you got full health, we're still playing an extra game in a wild card.
I know.
And the toll it takes on your body. Play that first weekend. Boom, you play the second weekend. And then what if you play the Sunday in the divisional round, you got to travel to Philadelphia on a short week like you did last year? You basically, or like they had an extra day because they played Saturday. Mm-hmm. So they get an extra day of rest and get to be at home. I need the bye week.
Well, did they lose last year, because they had home field advantage?
The 49ers?
Yeah, because I thought that they lost because, A, their quarterback went down, and B, I thought Philly was a little better.
Well,
going into the game.
Well, Philly knocked your quarterback out, and Philly was humming, and they were clicking. So, did home field have a lot to do with it? Absolutely.
Did you lose to the Rams because you didn't have home field advantage the year prior?
It didn't help.
No,
that fourth quarter got loud, even though it was fake crowd noise. Didn't help being on the road.
I mean, I understand the advantage.
Right.
One less game. Obviously, the home field and the rest. That's a factor. Yeah. I don't deny that. That is absolutely a factor. if you can't win a game against Minnesota without CMC, we have bigger problems.
That's what I'm saying. TC, Sacramento, TC, and then we get the hand over to Cal out in the Lou. TC, Sacramento, what's happening, bro?
Man, what's up, bro? Top of the morning. Bonte Shasky, what's up?
Let's go.
What's up, baby?
Man, just tapping in to watch this game. Look, I got a few points though, but I'm gonna start off with the Niners. Go check it out. I'm kind of feeling both the health and the number one seed, but you got to be healthy going inside this game because it shows you right now that this team is looking average with just people being injured. So I'd rather be healthy and be a lower seed and then get in the playoffs and do our Dougie versus going to the number one seed unhealthy and get knocked out in that first home game, in my opinion, because this team looks super average, bro, without Dre Greenlaw, McCaffrey, Debo. Like,
I mean, those are three Pro Bowlers, though. Like, I mean, can we at least acknowledge, like, a lot of teams missing 3 outs? I mean, CMC might be an all-pro level player. Like, we could acknowledge other teams missing multiple players, like, of that caliber. They would look more average than not. And I just think that's not some hot take.
I got you double. Okay, well, then let's put the red on the table. Check it out. This team is super top heavy. We're not as deep as everybody thinks we are. So when those studs go down, it shows a lot. So we got to quit. Oh, this team is super deep. But then when somebody goes down, it's like, oh, we got injuries, so we can't win. We're not as deep as we think we are, bro. We're super top heavy. That's enough for the Niners, though. As far as Justin Herbert, Bonte, dude is looking kind of lightweight overrated. I was watching the game yesterday, super bad. Like, bro, I thought you could run.
Right.
Why aren't you running? You're standing here like a statue. And I was like, man, this dude seems like he's low-key, don't know what he's doing, or he's kind of overrated, in my opinion. That's all I got.
We get to Justin Herbert. When people just threw him in the category of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and all these other guys, I'm thinking, well, let's wait a minute here. Let's wait a minute. Looks a little robotic. Can't beat the Cowboys. Can't beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I saw him miss throws in both games where I'm thinking, wait, I thought he was that dude. Those dudes make the throws that are presented to him. You have no business losing that game against the Dallas Cowboys last Monday night. You just don't. You're missing Keenan Allen wide open. They keep drafting wide receivers in L.A. for you.
The other guy isn't playing.
Quentin Johnson, don't even play him. You took him in the first round. That's the Chargers' problem.
Yeah. I
got a Brock Purdy problem. And I need Brock Purdy. Actually, I don't have a Brock Purdy problem, but Brock Purdy may have a problem on his hands tonight. May not have CMC. He for sure will not have Deebo Samuel. So how much of this is Brock needing to be able to win without Deebo or CMC? For some of the fans out there, does Brock need to win this game to convince you that he can go to Philadelphia and win, that he can go to Seattle and win? Does he need to win this game? Because it's one thing to have weapons galore. And everybody's a lot of people out there have been saying this. The Steven Ruiz's of the world, who I think is an idiot. But, hey, he doesn't win without a Deebo, without a CMC. You brought it up a couple weeks ago. Some people want to see him without CMC. And I went crazy saying, why would you want to see him without CMC? I want CMC on the field. But now I'm kind of enlightened to see, okay, what does he do without premium playmakers?
Being intrigued to see it is that's part of sports. Right? Like, who didn't want to see Mahomes without Tyreek and Kelsey in week 1 against Detroit, a fired-up Detroit team, right? And everybody was ready to write off the Chiefs. You look up, and now they're 6-1, right? They look pretty good to me. And that's because they get Kelsey back. Look, they're not going to look as good without CMC. That's not a hot take. That's just like reality.
Right.
CMC is one of the best players in the NFL, period. But I do kind of want to see what it looks like. And for the simple fact that it's another feather in the cap moment for Brock Purdy. I've seen this guy win high-level playoff games. I've seen him, go on the road and win games in December. I've seen him do it early on in the year. He had a stinker last week.
Yep.
Guess what? So has every quarterback who's ever lived, who's in the Hall of Fame at this point. They've had big games. They've had stinkers. It happens. How do you bounce back? How do you respond? How do you respond in an adverse situation when you're down multiple playmakers? When you're down maybe your left tackle?
Well, some people...
You have Elijah Mitchell. You have Jordan Mason. You have Brandon Ayuk. You have George Kittle. They've got ample opportunities to be able to win this game.
No doubt. Kofi on YouTube. This is a bigger test for Kyle than it is for Brock.
Ooh.
Bigger test for Kyle than it is for Brock. 888-957-9570.
Why?
I wonder why. I wonder why, Kofi. Why is that? Why do you believe it's a bigger test for Kyle Shanahan